And welcome to Block Therapy's Hangout with DeannaHansen.com. Welcome to the Hangout. My name is Wendy Stevens, and I'm here tonight really because I'm someone that actually completely got Deanna and how it really actually is. I had a health wake-up call myself, met Deanna quite by accident, and for so many people that you get to hear on tonight on the Hangout, we've encountered something real that can completely transform anyone's health online. But I do want you to know I'm actually here because I'm a fan, and I'm someone that's experienced the results with block therapy. And a big health wake-up call found me kind of flat on my rear end. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars chasing every natural health solution out there because basically drugs and surgery left me on an open-heart surgery table. So I met Deanna. I knew that she was real. I found out and discovered the block therapy was real. And then I met so many people in the block therapy community that have shed unwanted pounds. They've rid themselves of chronic pain, managed anxiety, depression, and Deanna has an incredible story herself of coming back to life and how fluid isometrics actually developed her. Deanna has a 20-year experience as a certified athletic therapist. She spent 40,000 hours in deep tissue work in other people's bodies, and that's given her the insights that she's taken her own genius and her own divine inspiration in working in deep tissue and put it into the block. And her mission is to take block therapy to the world to empower people to self-heal and to self-care. And tonight, she is live with us in Winnipeg, Canada, and she's there with her nephew, Quinn, as they're touch, moving, and inspiring people around the world. Deanna Hansen, my friend, come out here. It's your Hangout. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It is such an honor to be able to be sharing block therapy and all that we've been developing through the years with you. So I really appreciate you coming. And I also want to send such an incredible amount of appreciation to the team. There is so much effort and so many pieces to bring this together that I am absolutely blown away that we've actually made it here, because there's just so much going on. And I have an absolutely incredible team that I am so grateful for. So thank you, everyone, for that. And I just want to share a little bit about my nephew here. 2 years ago, when I was teaching a block therapy class, he had just started university, came into one of my classes. Afterward, he said, Deanna, he said, this is my passion, this is my purpose. I want to follow in your footsteps. And my heart absolutely filled with joy. And then within about 30 seconds, he said, and I want you to tell my parents I want to drop out of university. So thank goodness that this has all worked out, because this is just the best thing ever to have my nephew on this journey with me, bringing a different perspective of block therapy to the world as well, which he'll be able to share with you shortly. So I just want to give you a little bit of information about myself. I know most of you probably know my story. Again, 50 pounds overweight, anxiety, depression, addiction. I was in a really, really negative state. And what was so challenging for me was that as an athletic therapist, I knew what to do. I worked really hard to try to change my size and shape, and I was actually getting bigger. The amount of calories I was putting into my mouth compared to the energy that I was expending, it didn't make sense. I wasn't following the rules of weight loss. I was getting bigger, I was getting thicker and harder, and my chronic pain and my issues in my system were increasing. So it was amidst an anxiety attack 15 years ago when I dove my hand into my belly, and the first thing I encountered was pain. The pain, though, it took me away from my crazy thinking, that anxiety that I was feeling, and it brought me to the ground. And within a couple of moments of feeling in my tissue, I also recognized that no wonder I couldn't lose the size in there, because I felt the scar tissue that had accumulated over years. Now, as a body worker, I knew what scar tissue felt like from injury and surgery, and I was experiencing that same texture in my own abdomen, even though I hadn't had injuries or surgeries there. So suddenly I'm realizing, no wonder when I'm coming back from a 5-mile run, dripping wet with sweat, my belly still feels cold, and no wonder I can't metabolize any of that tissue. So what I've learned over the years is that it's really about compression. Over time, from unconscious posture and breathing, we literally fall into our space, and as a result, tissue gets displaced. With that compression, blood and oxygen flow is blocked to cells, so we experience symptoms. So what I've learned over time is really pain, age, and disease come from cells being blocked from blood and oxygen flow from life. So what we need to understand is to release that compression in the tissue so we can allow those cells to be properly fed and clean. Now, the challenge is fascia, which is the connective tissue that connects us from head to toe, will seal us out of alignment with a force up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. So imagine that. 2,000 pounds per square inch is how hard the tissue is holding us out of alignment. So if I've been in front of a computer for years in this negative position, all compressed, my organs being displaced, it's not like I can simply bring my body back up and start proper diaphragmatic breathing. Now the thing is, what we want to understand is gravity is a constant force pulling us down toward the earth. And it's constant, so we don't even recognize what it's doing to us. But for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And within the body, there's a counterforce to gravity. It's the full conscious exhalation. But we need to be able to access the diaphragm muscle. And the challenge is, because of unconscious posture and breathing, we have fallen so far out of alignment. So this is what block therapy does. It allows you to find in your own body the areas where you're compressed to create that release of pressure so we can get back up to proper diaphragmatic breathing in order to feed and clean the cells. And when your cell is fed and clean, it's young, it's healthy, it's doing its job, and it's happy. It's when the cells don't have proper blood and oxygen flow that they're stressed. And the really interesting thing is the first thing we experience is pain. Pain is the language that the body gives us to let us know that energy is required. But we've been looking at pain from the wrong perspective. Rather than looking at it as a positive thing, we don't like pain. We push it away, so we take meds to try and mask it, or we posturally avoid it. But what we really want to do is we want to focus on it and do the right thing with it. So block therapy teaches you how to understand the language of your body. And the really nice thing is, as you go through the process of block therapy, you are connecting more deeply into your cells, and they in turn tell you what your body needs. So my 21-day program that we're here tonight talking about, I've put together a very simple to follow process that's literally 15 minutes a day. It's 3 positions, and you're guided through this so that you can actually get back to proper diaphragmatic breathing and bring your body back to life. So Quinn, why don't you share a little bit about your experience with block therapy?
Well, yeah, I did start 2 years ago, actually just over 2 years ago, and this is when I was just getting into bodybuilding. I was thinking about my first competition coming up, and I was taking copious amounts of supplements. And what I realized was at my very first block therapy class, how compressed I was at such a young age. Now, the more I was working out, the more I was actually building myself further out of alignment. So I wasn't actually growing in a healthy, spacious, open, positive way. So once I started doing block therapy, it sort of became that addiction like bodybuilding. I noticed results right away, so I kept doing it at home. I started bringing it to the gym and realizing that my muscles are recovering a lot faster by performing block therapy than taking all these supplements. I'm actually getting bigger. So Deanna gave me a challenge. She said, if you cut out supplements 100% and just try block therapy on its own, let's see what the results will give you. And that's exactly what I did. Now, it wasn't easy because I was literally brainwashed into thinking you need to take supplements to get results in and out of the gym. So if you want to gain muscle, take this supplement and this supplement. If you want to lose weight, etc. So I cut it out cold turkey. Tough decision, but I did it, and the results were absolutely phenomenal. I'm more cut, my waist is smaller, I'm broader, I'm more open, and I feel so much better because back then, a couple of years ago, I may have looked still fairly healthy, or fit, I should say, but it doesn't mean I was necessarily healthy. So now I can actually say that I am fit and I'm healthy because I've created that proper oxygenation of my cells into all of my cells that have been previously deprived of, most importantly, oxygen. So now, here today, I've been competing. I actually just competed this year in the WBFF World Fitness Model Show in Las Vegas, and being the youngest competitor and 100% natural, no drugs, no steroids, I actually placed 8th in the world. And I was very excited about that. So I'm going to be going next year, and I'm just going to see where this takes me, because I just really want to leave a mark and tell people that it's so important to properly oxygenate your cells compared to just taking in supplements and steroids trying to get bigger in an unhealthy way. So that's, other than this, that's sort of my my journey to spread this to the fitness and wellness industry as well.
Awesome, Quinn. And
Wow.
I just want to share that the reason that we're sitting here is because this is helping so many people. And it's not about us being the experts of your body. It's about teaching you how to be the expert of your own health. And that's really what block therapy does, because again, it's all about connecting into your own tissue so that you can learn to listen to what your cells are saying to you. And I just want to talk a little bit about weight loss, because for me, that was such a challenge in my youth and my 20s, really, where I was, again, like 50 pounds overweight. So what I've come to understand, again, is that we have an incorrect perspective of what causes us to store size. I don't like even calling it weight loss, because it's really size loss that we're looking for. And it's all about putting your cells back to the proper position. When we fall out of balance over time and I fall into my space, my belly protrudes. So especially if you look at me from sideways, if I'm correctly standing this way and I fall out of balance this way, you see what happens. And this is how most people stand. They stand in this forward slump. So not only does that space cause my belly to protrude, also my organs, they're getting stressed. My stomach organ that's necessary for digesting our food, the liver that's necessary for cleaning our body, the gallbladder, in part necessary for digesting fats. When we don't sit correctly, those organs are getting stressed and displaced, so they aren't working as well as they can. And then we accumulate a backup of waste, which creates more size. So I would love it if anybody would share any questions. We'd love to answer.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions, and I just want to throw out for a couple of folks. If you've not yet registered, Deanna has brought really the best to her 21-day program, and you can register. It is free. It is her gift. You can go to 21dayswithdeanna.com. You can register for free to walk through with her one-on-one live, as you're experiencing right now, and be able to walk through the holidays, enjoy your friends, family, the banquet table, while getting in the best shape of your life. So yes, I've actually registered. I'm going to be there. It's 21dayswithdeanna.com. And when you decide to say, yes, Deanna, I want to do this. I want, you've kept 50 pounds off for all this time and, looks younger today. Their family says, or at least Quinn says, that she did in her 20s. Then when you register there, you'll be asked you'll get a video from Deanna about documenting your before and after results. And if you want to be one of the top people that gets to get the biggest results over this 21-day program, then when you enter, you're going to get your name in the hat for a drawing for a 3-day luxury block therapy retreat. Deanna and Quinn led the first one a few months ago, and it's going to be happening again, the first one in January. They're going to be happening every month going in the spring. And if you want to win a priceless experience, it costs $3,500 to do the workshop or the retreat, but you'll get a ticket and you'll be Deanna's VIP guest, special dinner on the beach with Deanna and Quinn. You'll be in charge of your own hotel and airfare, but the ticket and the VIP treatment is absolutely priceless. So go to 21dayswithdeanna.com, opt in there. You'll be able to opt in for the contest. And Deanna, we do have a question. I've got a question from Jonathan. If someone wants to jump in, this is Jonathan from Wales. If someone wants to jump in right away, Deanna, and get the biggest results, how does someone get started? How would you answer that?
Well, hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your question. So, well, the first thing that you need is you need a block. It took 2 years for us to figure out the exact dimensions and the reason that it's wood and the reason that we keep it raw. So this is the tool, and this is your therapist for life. So this is number one. Now, I always say to people, if you only have 5 minutes a day to do something for your health, Quinn, if you can just demonstrate the position that we always start everything within block therapy. If you just do this for 5 minutes a day, this is going to change things, and you're going to notice changes very quickly, because what's ultimately happening is we haven't been breathing diaphragmatically. So the challenge is that cells require oxygen first and foremost to thrive, and we're not breathing right. Nobody is, because again, over years, we've fallen into our core, and that's stopped our diaphragm muscle from functioning optimally. So by training the diaphragm, it's ultimately creating a habit for you to start breathing better. When we apply the block here, and you can see how simple it is, Quinn is simply lying here. And if it's too painful, you can start on a bed. But ultimately, we're starting to create space and a release of that magnetic seal that's holding us down this way. So as you're instructed, we start focusing on that full exhalation, and it starts creating this release so we can lift up. And the more we do, the more we start oxygenating. Now, the 21-day program is 3 positions a day. And the reason I did that was because a lot of people don't have 45 minutes or an hour and a half like we teach in a class or on the DVD. So for 15 minutes a day, I've structured the order of positions very systematically so that we very quickly can create a release in the entire rib cage, the core, and down into the pelvis and the arms, so that everything can be positioned optimally so that we have greater health and our systems are ultimately working more efficiently. Even imagine your heart here, the aorta, the main artery leaving the heart. If we're sitting like this, that artery is getting crunched and squished. So now your heart has to work really hard to try to send blood to all of the cells in the body. By working through this area and creating that release as you are guided to, very quickly we can change the body. And depending on what you want, again, you can take it to a very high level very quickly. And we can even do one-on-one Skype sessions with our block therapy instructors if you want some of that guided instruction.
Beautiful, fantastic. And I know, Deanna, we've got other people, Quinn, that are asking. Really, as an athlete, and both of you, Deanna, you were a championship volleyball player. Quinn, I'm going to call you the #1 natural physique bodybuilding champion. That's what I'm going to call you. I'm just going to name it and claim it, big guy. Because, by the way, I'm someone that knew I could look up a website and reach out and connect with someone. And if you wanted to be able to work, we have 2 outstanding world-class trainers, of course, along with Deanna herself. But you're going to meet Heather in a moment. Heather and Quinn, I've had the privilege of working with Quinn in person a couple of times now, but mostly I work with Quinn over Skype. Personally, I've hired him as my trainer. If you want to be able to work with someone like that, you can send an email to info@fluidisometrics.com. You're going to meet Heather in a moment. She has been on Deanna's right arm for a long time now. She has an amazing team and tribe in Winnipeg for sure. But Heather and Quinn are going to be hosting some virtual live group classes. Now, I'm about to go global, hopping around cities from San Francisco, Toronto, New York, and I'm taking Quinn with me on my iPad on Skype because he holds me accountable and I have to show up. So if you want to get some great results, definitely sign up for the free program on 21 Days with Deanna. And if you don't have a block yet, for sure, go to 21dayswithdeanna.com/blocks. And you'll be able to grab one, get one. You can get standard shipping or rush it. I've been taking to blocks, as Deanna knows, to people all over the world. Heather, I want to bring you out in just a second and get to hear about your experience. And I want everyone to kind of put Heather and Quinn together. Heather, can I bring you out, and would you share a little bit about what block therapy's done for you and why you chose to be an instructor and a teacher here? Hey,
Hi.
Heather.
For sure, Wendy. Yes, thank you. I first met Deanna a couple of years ago, and she was actually working on my daughter because my daughter had injured her back from a gymnastics competition, and she had spent the last 2 years pretty much unable to even sit at her desk when she was at school. So I had heard about fluid isometrics, and I thought, you know what, this is really going to help her, and so I took her to see Deanna, and within the first session that she did with my daughter, she was virtually pain-free. And sitting there in the room and watching Deanna do her work was absolutely amazing to me. It was just the most relaxing experience that I had ever seen. And I had asked her how I can do something like this, like how can I get involved? What she didn't know at that time was that I was very slowly recovering from major health issues at that time. I had many of my organs were shutting down. I wasn't able to digest my food anymore. My liver was failing me. I would have been diagnosed with about 4 different major illnesses had I gone the medical route, but I really wanted to do something naturally to help my body regain its health. And so she introduced me to block therapy. I totally fell in love with it, and I gave myself a month of pure dedication, doing it every single day. It was the most amazing thing after that month, how incredibly healthy I felt, and I didn't ever think that I would be able to feel that way again. So it was really a truly amazing experience for me. And now that I can actually be here and share with the world is totally the most exciting thing ever. Just watching and seeing others regain their health and their mobility and the quality of their life too is really the most amazing thing that I'm just so thrilled to be here.
Wow, well, Heather, you look like a movie star, of course. So who would ever know that you had a health crisis? Can I ask you? And I would just love to hear from you. What was one of the most amazing things you've seen happen for one of your students? You know, as an instructor, as a teacher yourself.
One of the most amazing things that I have seen is I had started working with one particular lady who had no mobility at all. She couldn't get down onto the floor, onto the yoga mat, so I had put together a program for her that she could start doing on her bed. And so she was totally committed to doing this, and within about 3 weeks, this particular lady, with that full dedication, was able to be down on the floor on a yoga mat, moving around with no problem at all. So that I found was truly amazing. She was very, very, her knees weren't working properly for her. She couldn't get down on the floor, but after 3 weeks of being in her bed and doing positions that I gave her, she was on the floor, and now she's coming out to classes. So it's amazing how quickly that this can really help somebody.
Wow, so pretty incredible, Heather. You're continuing to take your own health to the next level while you're helping other people with those breakthroughs. I have loved every moment I've been able to spend with you, and you're a complete inspiration to me. So thank you so much. Dee and Quinn, I'm coming back to you. I would love to get to hear, you know, just a little bit more, Deanna, what's happening with block therapy, really kind of globally, and we do have some other questions coming in. Talk about your vision for where block therapy is going, and then we'll go out to a question.
Absolutely, Wendy. So for me, as a body worker and developing fluid isometrics, it was really exciting because I was attracting therapists that wanted to learn my technique. And so one-on-one, we were making headway and making ground, but it was challenging because I really felt like I could affect more people than what I was able to do here in Winnipeg. So block therapy really arose as a way for me to transfer what I was doing in the treatment room and to turn it into something simple to do that we could get to people all over the world. It's very easy to ship a block to somebody and to give them the information required. But what I'm really looking for are leaders, because having teachers and having the opportunity to have such amazing, incredible experiences with the teachers in Winnipeg, I realized we can do this everywhere, and people are loving this, and the teachers are thrilled to be able to gain the experiences as well with their students. So we want to bring block therapy to the world through the teacher training program. And the more people that we can get into the program, the faster we can spread the word, because really people need that direct contact. We are here and we can do a lot of stuff virtually, but to be able to have teachers affect their communities, that's a whole different level of interaction and the ability for us to spread the word. Not to mention the business opportunity for individuals coming forward with this. This is new, this is groundbreaking, and when I say it's new, it's not new for me. I've been doing this for a very long time and have proven the results time and time and time again. Not from me, from what others are doing, and that's the best part. When people get onto the block, they share with me what's changed. So the more people that do it, this word grows. And again, it's about getting people to the process, and from that process, people are finding in themselves what they need to do. So that's my goal. I want to empower people all over the world to learn how to self-heal and self-care. And that doesn't mean we don't need help along the way. It doesn't mean we don't need to seek other professionals. It means that this is something that we can use to identify in ourselves what we need to be the healthiest version of ourselves.
Now, Deanna, I know you've helped people with incredible breakthroughs from scoliosis. I mean, you've had people come to you with horrific fractures. What have been some of the most amazing transformations that you've seen? And then talk a bit about the true science behind fluid isometrics and this whole process.
Wow, there's been so many. To identify one is a bit of a challenge. I've seen issues with people with MS, fibromyalgia, people with dramatic issues with their size changing, with chronic issues like chronic low back pain for years, hip pain, migraines. Somebody that always stands out for me, though, is Christopher. He was a young man with severe scoliosis, and he started coming to me as a patient with fluid isometrics, and we made immense headway with him, and then taught him how to self-care by using the block as well, and Quinn did some work with Christopher as well to teach him then how to strengthen. So the thing is, for people, when we're out of alignment and we're strengthening our body, we're making it actually harder to heal because we're strengthening our tissue further out of alignment. So to be able to get our body back into position and then strengthen is really the key. So I've seen so many people. Scoliosis is just one of those really amazing things because it's such a visual thing to see. Frozen shoulder as well. People like to see befores and afters, and they like fast results. So many people have frozen shoulder where they literally can't lift their shoulder, above 90 degrees or even less. And in a very short period of time, we can get people to go from, no range to full range. I've done it many times personally in my treatment rooms, and we've seen it many times with people on the block. So there, again, it's hard to identify one thing because really when it comes down to it, pain, age, and disease result from compression. It results from cells not being properly fed and clean. So it's all about learning how to decompress that tissue to resume the flow so the body will take care of itself.
Deanna, I can't help but to, I have so many favorite breakthroughs with block therapy, but for sure, my background, throwing the javelin, playing sports, when you and I met and you were offering to show me how real block therapy was, I was like, okay, but just don't touch my broken wing. Quinn, I wouldn't pull a suitcase. I was the biggest baby in the world. And Deanna was like, no problem, don't worry. But what happened was I began to believe in Deanna, and I got to see that she was real. And I got to understand my father was head of a medical school growing up. I was taught that doctors were one step below God. But 2 shoulder surgeries literally left me without full range of motion. And it was Deanna's quiet confidence and the fact that block therapy made sense to put me in a position for my body to heal. So Deanna, you took me out on the front lawn and we got to zing footballs around after you showed me how real it was. And that is real. So thank you so much for that. I got my arm back. I'm going to get to play with my grandchildren someday. Meanwhile, I get to get back to, playing some real tennis. So Quinn, you've seen some athletes, take things to another level too. you've now devoted your life to block therapy. I've seen your maniacal dedication, your belief in the mission. The two of you are just incredible pillars, back to back, taking this to the world. So Quinn, what are you the most excited about with what you see happening with block therapy, with athletes, with bodybuilders? What are you the most excited about?
I think once we get this more so out there, people are actually gonna understand it and become their own health advocates, and they're gonna be able to understand it because it makes so much sense once you actually do it. Once it gets out there, people are just gonna love it, and it's amazing with some of the clients I've worked with personally, the changes. Like I've had people not be able to roll their shoulders back. I've had people literally glued in an incorrect alignment for literally years of their life. Doing the block for a month and training properly with me, it's a night and day difference, and people just don't understand it. They don't believe it necessarily right away. And even working with people in classes, seeing, as Deanna mentioned before, the range of motion in frozen shoulder, I've literally had people break down in tears in the middle of class because they've noticed such a dramatic difference right away, and they're saying this is the missing link. So this going out to bodybuilders, this going out to sports, to athletes, I've had many conversations and many connections that I'm actually going to be getting closer there soon. I see this being the next biggest thing out there because it's the answer. It's
Yep.
the answer to all of the questions, and it's the solution that everybody's been looking for. It just goes on, and it's amazing, and I cannot wait to spread this and have that opportunity to spread this to the world with our team, because we have such an amazing, incredible team, and we're ready to bring it to the world.
Right on. And, you know, it's and by the way, if you are somewhere in the world and you'd like to get a block, I know that I've been in South Africa, in Wales, and I've had people wrestle my block away from me. And I just want to let you know there are people, no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to tap in to Deanna, to Quinn, to Heather, and be able to experience the next generation of body work and be able to unlock anything in your body that you need to bring back to life. So Deanna, I'm going to go out to you in a minute and talk about, you know, diaphragmatic breathing, posture, raising that core body temperature. But if you don't yet have a block, you can go to, it is www.21dayswithdeanna.com/blocks. You can just get a block. It is $99.95 Canadian dollars. And then we have a package of a block, something called a buddy band, and that's what this is. And it reminds me all the time when Deanna's not around to nudge me, I actually have that reminder to get back into the right posture and alignment instead of at my computer when I'm all hunched over. I think about the community, and I bring myself back into the correct posture, breathing. So if you want to have a buddy band, a block that makes everything happen, and come be a part of the community, join the family, block, buddy band, and a DVD, an instructional DVD to be able to use with Deanna anytime. You can download it online, get a physical one in the box, and 3 virtual private classes, but they're with Heather and Quinn. 3 classes, that's all a part of the package at $149 Canadian. We also have a second package because there are people like me that I want to consume all the classes possible because I know what it costs me on just a bad copay or a good massage, Deanna, that you know I did in South Florida a few weeks ago. I spent more on a great massage than a block, buddy band, DVD, and 8 classes. Now, that is how I get to buy my life back, and I'm learning something that's, you know, completely blowing me away. So I want to go back, Deanna, to you, if you could talk a little more about the science, the breathing, posture, etc., and then we're going to go out and answer some more questions.
Sure, Wendy. So what is really interesting is when we understand compression, there's a few things that we need to understand in order to create the release for our health. So again, what happens when we fall out of alignment? We have this incredible muscle, the diaphragm. When we're breathing properly, it moves up and down in the core of the body, but it needs the container, our rib cage and our core, to be properly aligned in order to access this. Now, what's interesting is when we breathe diaphragmatically, we feed the body 600% more oxygen. And people think that's impossible. There's no way we could feed the body that much more oxygen. But here's why. At the very base of the lungs is where 70% of the alveoli, which are the oxygen receptor sites, reside. So most people are breathing up here. We've collapsed like this, and we're using these secondary muscles to pull oxygen in. The challenge here is that we're not bringing the air deeply enough into the lungs to reach those receptor sites. So we're not absorbing oxygen properly. And that's why it is so imperative that we do something to change the rib cage. Now, it's all about magnetics. So when we fall out of balance over years, the cells, they start to intertwangle and they get stuck, but it's a magnetic seal. So again, 20 years in front of a computer this way, I've now sealed and locked myself. So now I can't access this phenomenal muscle. So with block therapy, through the instruction, we put the space back into the tissue, creating that magnetic release. And then with the instruction of proper breathing, we start to inflate that space. And then with instruction of proper alignment, we maintain and own that space. So it's really, there's three parts to block therapy. It's creating the space, inflating the space, and maintaining the space. And that's what's necessary. We can't expect someone else to look after our health. Again, I'm not saying that we don't need to seek assistance, and there's so many phenomenal professionals and different fields out there that will only improve what we're doing. But until we understand that it's really about our breath in how well we live, and we do have that opportunity to get it back with block therapy. People can survive for weeks without food, days without water, minutes without oxygen, and the cells are the same. And we have approximately 100 trillion cells that make up the body, and we want every one of those cells properly fed and clean. If they are lifelong, theoretically, we should be able to go through time without our tissue accumulating age. It's gravity that really ages us because it's causing compression, which blocks blood and oxygen flow to cells. So this is the solution for that. It really is the fountain of youth. If you think about it, gravity is aging. Gravity creates compression. Block therapy decompresses. It takes time out of the tissue. And that's what we want. We want to live a long, healthy, youthful, energetic, creative, awesome life. And this is a way that we can turn back the clock and get back to optimal function. Beautiful.
Perfect, perfect. So we've got some questions. And if you have some questions, I know Mark's going to bring up a slide that will give everyone instructions on how to do that. And I definitely want to encourage you to go to 21dayswithdeanna.com because she's got a goal. And we're looking for 100 people around the globe that really, I'm going to invite you to kick the tires and pick it apart. I was skeptical, Deanna. You know that I was. And I want to invite you to put this to the test because it will pass any mustard test. The only thing you have to lose are unwanted pounds, inches. Deanna, you know I lost 7 inches in 7 days. Quinn was there, live in person. You can see his pictures on the website, the 21dayswithdeanna.com, by the way. Make sure you grab a block, jump in. It's a block party, and you're joining a family and a community. So just know we've got some info up there for you on how to ask questions. Deanna, I do have a question here, though, that's been sent to me directly on Skype. So can you talk about just really eradicating chronic pain? I know, Deanna, you had some challenges with back pain yourself. Yes. Can you talk about that and how block therapy helps?
Absolutely. The challenge that people have with chronic pain is that where we feel the pain isn't generally what's causing the pain. So if I was holding a balloon and I squeeze the balloon here, it's under pressure over here. This is where we would feel the symptom or the pain. This is where the cause of that is. And the body is no different. So for example, with chronic back pain, Quinn, can I just have you stand up for a minute for me? So posture, like it's interesting because I remember being a kid and people saying, you know, sit up straight, and people are told that, but I don't think that we really grasp the significance of proper posture and alignment. So if Quinn is standing properly, we've got our body stacked so that the cells can be in the right position. Now, 70% of the population is right-handed, and if you look at the average person, how they stand, Quinn, can you just go into that typical right-handed posture? You'll see a lot of the times that people stand this way. Now, what is challenged is the pelvis ends up getting pulled over through here, and it causes pain and stress in the back of the body. Have a seat, Quinn. So what ends up happening is through incorrect posture, we create stress in areas of the body. Even the back of the body here. If I'm sitting like this in front of a computer and my shoulders and my neck are sore, this isn't the cause site, it's actually here. So it's all about understanding where we need to work to create the release so that the cells can relax and that they don't have to work so hard. The body just really wants to be balanced. And that's the thing, the body wants to be healthy, it wants to be balanced, and it wants to do its job properly. It's when we fall out of balance from incorrect posture and breathing that the cells get stressed because they're trying to hold us up. Even something like cellulite, if we're standing incorrectly, it's the tissue gripping onto the bone to try to create stability so we don't fall out of balance. Those dimples is really the body trying to do its job. Block therapy actually takes that away, by the way, if you do it properly and you start feeding that blood and oxygen flow into the tissue, because it creates the release of those blocks that get stuck on the bone that create those dimples. So again, interestingly, whether we're talking about chronic pain, whether we're talking about symptoms of aging, vanity things, like cellulite to me, it's not a vanity issue, although most people don't like the appearance of it. But it also indicates other things. All of these things can be corrected. Aging in the skin, losing hair. If your hair follicles aren't getting fed proper amounts of blood and oxygen flow, eventually they're going to start dying off as well, and we're going to start losing our hair. We can undo the effects of time by putting the tissue back, by releasing those restrictions, and by feeding blood and oxygen flow to cells.
Whoops, sorry about that. Did I just come back to life? I think I did. So again, if you want to see the packages, we're going to go over and meet Joanne in just a minute. But I will share with you one of the reasons, and by the way, I don't have a financial interest in tonight. I have become a dedicated friend of Deanna's because I believe in her mission. Quinn, I believe in you too, big time. And there's a whole team and a tribe in Winnipeg that is really passionate about and believes in block therapy because so many people are getting great results. So if you want to be a part, go to 21dayswithdeanna.com. You'll see some great pictures of these two in the Bahamas. And when you say yes to being one of the 100 people around the world that want a great before and after, I want to invite you. First of all, you're going to get results. Second of all, you're going to get a name in the hat for a drawing to win a 3-day luxury block therapy retreat. So head on over to 21 Days with Deanna, and if you don't have a block yet, go to 21dayswithdeanna.com/blocks. You can get a single block. You can get a package with 3 virtual classes that includes the block, buddy band, DVD. I feel like I'm doing sign language, Quinn. And then the next package is a block, buddy band, DVD, and also 8 classes. So just know all 3 of those are available. And the 21-day challenge is going to help all of us dance around the holiday, of course, table. Quinn, I watched you pack it down for Canadian Thanksgiving, big guy.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a tryptophan over. Oh, my gosh, you were just out. But I watched you. Look at the dude. He doesn't do that, you know, by accident. But I'm heading into Thanksgiving, Deanna, and I'm so happy that I've become block dependent, not Deanna or Quinn dependent. Now, that's what's on the table with the block. We happen to come to life together with the community right here, and we'll do so in the 21 days. So if you want to go through the holidays, don't totally deny yourself and not enjoy your friends, enjoy the holidays, enjoy the banquet table, but get your body in a position to be able to process all that wonderful holiday and actually get in the best shape of your life. So that's what the 21-day program is. And I'm going to go over to Joanne. I know we have some more questions. And Deanna, I'm going to go back to questions after we go meet Joanne. And Joanne, I want you to share how you met Deanna, how you bumped into block therapy, and what it's been doing for you and your career teaching now.
Hi, thank you for having me on, Wendy. I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with block therapy. I met Deanna just over a year and a half ago. I took a block therapy class because as a personal trainer and fitness instructor, I was getting a phenomenal amount of headaches. So thinking I was doing everything right, staying hydrated, doing a lot of exercise, something was definitely missing. So I did not go into this skeptical at all. I thought this right off the hop, just reading about it, this was going to be something I wanted to be involved in. So I took my first class, bought a block that night, and never ever stopped. So now I have been teaching since April between 80 and 100 people a week here in Winnipeg, and I am having my own success not only with my headaches and my neck pain, but my participants. It just blows me away. I get up in the morning and I'm getting texts that people are having less digestive issues, that people are sleeping better. And the most exciting thing for me has been watching my diabetic clients have a better blood sugar numbers. And that to me is very, very exciting. And I think a lot of the times we're so compressed and collapsed, and when we get open and we get that block in the rib cage and in behind that pancreas, and we're giving those organs an internal massage, the results are coming by having better blood sugar numbers. It has been just absolutely amazing. I have children using the block that have seasonal allergies and asthma, and they are doing amazing as well. So the best thing is, I know, Wendy, you said you're not block dependent, you're not Deanna dependent, you're block dependent. And what I'm finding over the months is the same thing with my clients. They're not Joanne dependent anymore. They have learned to love their block. They have learned to love what's happening, and they are now their own health advocates, reducing their physio appointments, reducing their massage appointments, and really at the end of the month you are saving money because you're doing this just at home. You can be watching TV and use your block, and you're sleeping amazing. So that's really my story, and I'm so thankful for Heather, Deanna, and Quinn, and just being able to be out in the world every day, being able to get people on these blocks. It has been amazing for me.
Wow. Well, Joanne, you know how much I've enjoyed getting to meet you too, and for all the people that you're assisting and helping, and thank you for the way you've showed up to dedicate yourself to help people be empowered around their own health. It does take a family. It does take, because we're all 6 degrees of separation, and we are looking for leaders. We are looking for more teachers. And so I'll just let you know that. But we'd love to have you jump into the 21dayswithdeanna.com. Deanna, I do have a couple of more questions, and I've got one coming in from a gal, Nancy, who's had trouble sleeping, Deanna, for years, waking up lots of times every night since they were a child. Nothing's really worked. So how can block therapy help with actually sleeping?
Well, just like everything, the brain, in order to go into its restful state, needs proper amounts of oxygen. So if you'll notice, especially with the youth today, because they are growing up in front of computers and cell phones, they are so far collapsed, they're blocking the blood and oxygen flow into the head and the neck, in through this area, because of the collapse in general. So when we start oxygenating the body and creating proper alignment as you are instructed through the programs, we start to feed blood and oxygen flow to every part of the body, including the brain. And that absolutely helps with the restfulness. Not to mention, when we're breathing diaphragmatically, we're actually changing the brain pattern to a more relaxed state. When we're breathing up here, our brain pattern is in a stress mode, fight or flight mode. So when we're stressed feeling, we're not relaxed. So if we're going to bed and breathing up here, our brain is still thinking, okay, we're under stress, we need to be doing something, we need to flee, we need to fight, whatever it is. When we start to learn to breathe diaphragmatically, everything calms down. And I'm sure we've all experienced very, very stressful times in our life. And the really awesome thing is, no matter what's going on externally in the world, if we're breathing diaphragmatically, we have control over our internal environment. And on the flip side, we can be having a very relaxed situation, but if we're breathing from the muscles of the upper chest, we're actually in stress mode. So it's really important to understand if we want to feel at peace, which is really, I think at the end of the day, all these side effects are great. Losing weight, getting rid of chronic pain, those are all beautiful things. But we really want to feel at peace with it. We want to feel that connection, and we want to feel peaceful. Everyone is stressed. Everyone's rushing around. There's so much going on in the world that's not positive. But yet we can still move into our own tissue, connect to our breath, and be at peace within no matter what is going on out through here, which is partly why it's really exciting that we're going to be doing this through the holiday season. You know, so many people think, you know, Christmas is such a great time, and for many it is, but for also many it's a very stressful time for a lot of reasons. So to be able to have your block, and it's awesome because a lot of my students have actually named their block because it's that important to them. So to have this with you, even just to hold it, calms me down sometimes. So to be able to have that through the season when time is stressful, when we are eating and drinking more than we typically do, this is going to just be such a wonderful friend to carry with you. And you can take it traveling. It's easy to bring with you in your suitcase. So I'm very excited to be seeing you in my 21-day program so we can go through this together and you can be supported so that while we are doing it, any questions that you have, any fears, any concerns, we're here for you. And that's really what this is about. The community is about sharing experience because we are all experts in block therapy when we start doing it.
Yeah, in fact, Deanna, thank you. I want to let everyone know also when we're doing the 21-day program, you'll be able to interact on a more one-on-one level, at least one-on-one with the group, but you will be able to come out live and ask questions of Quinn, of Heather. Tonight we're a little more limited in our time, so we want to be respectful of everyone's time. But just know you do have that ability to interact. And Quinn, I was going to ask, because you guys just look so amazing, and I love seeing you, Quinn, when you demonstrate. Do you mind? Would you two just pick, like Quinn, if you're feeling stressed, you know, do you just jump on the core position on the block, or can you show everybody what you do?
Jump right in.
Absolutely. Sorry, was that a question?
No, yeah, sure. What you do when you're stressed.
Oh, when I'm stressed, first thing I do is go on the belly position to start. And then from here, I can sort of, because I've been doing block therapy for over 2 years now, I know where to put it next. It could be in my neck, it could be on my face, it could be on my temples, but all of these areas, everybody's going to be different. But the number one position I would recommend is the belly position.
And I'd like to share, you know, just, it's so peaceful to watch even because he's really just hanging out here. My personal favorite is actually in my rib cage because especially right underneath this area where my heart is, that's where I find I have a lot of pain. So after I do the belly position, I'll often go here, and I find a lot of my anxiety resides in here. And again, that's the really nice thing about block therapy is as you do it, you identify in yourself where those stress points are because we're all different. So again, it's not about anyone saying this is what your problem is. It's about here you go, here's a solution. Start to explore, have some fun with it. And before long, you will know what's not working for you and where you need to go through your symptoms. And that's the cool part. By learning to identify the language of pain and the negative symptoms that we experience, we can find in ourselves where the root of our struggles and our suffering is, and we can release that.
Beautiful. So Quinn, thank you. So if you would love to be able to get to work directly with Quinn and Heather, the live virtual classes are part of Package A and Package B. In fact, Anna, we've just had some special people join the Hangout. We have Dr. Julia Boland here with us tonight, who you know you two hit it off so beautifully in the Bahamas. Dr. Julia Boland, an amazing medical expert, incredible world-class athlete herself. And she and Deanna are back-to-back. In fact, Deanna, we're going to have Dr. Boland, excuse me, out on one of the Hangouts. So I'm going to let Julia, she's going to throw in some input here. but she's got a question. I will, Deanna, just jump out real quick and ask you. I have someone who's been challenged with the onset of menopause and is not getting quite as much out of their workouts. You know, is block therapy going to help someone that's struggling with menopause?
Absolutely. And again, the reason is over time we fall away from balance, and as we do, there's compression blocking blood and oxygen flow to cells and glands that create hormones. So when we're experiencing symptoms of menopause, it's because our body isn't balanced. Of course, we all go through the change if we're lucky enough to make it that far in life. But what happens when we're out of balance is we're creating, again, those blocks to blood and oxygen flow. So by working that, you start to experience that the symptoms that you are having start to decrease. They get less. I haven't personally gone through menopause, so I always like to speak from personal experience, but I've had many of my patients that have struggled with symptoms of menopause tell me that when they do the block, their symptoms diminish significantly.
Beautiful, fantastic. So listen, we're gonna come around the top of the hour here, Quinn, and we're gonna come back out with a couple of other questions, if we could. Deanna, someone has someone's thought about getting plastic surgery to move something off their leg. It looks like it's some kind of a growth, lipoma. I don't even know what that is. Can you address that for us?
Sure. So with regard to surgery, once we've had surgery, now we have forced compression, and that can be from injury or surgery. So compression can be, again, from incorrect posture or breathing. We can have injuries that create scar tissue. We can have surgeries that create scar tissue. So for somebody that has had something removed, now there's going to be that scar tissue, which is going to grip to the bone, because scar tissue and compression, they want to root onto something. So once it grips to bone, it starts continuing to pull the body further and further out of alignment as gravity likes to grip onto really dense things. So if you have had a surgery, this is a really good thing to do. I had a breast reduction in my early 20s, and I'm not sure today if I would have done it if I knew then what I know now. But I'm really happy that I did have it, because what it did is it left me with a lot of scarring under here. So I spent time working to remove those scars from my rib cage, because I realized those scars were actually pulling me in, and they were creating symptoms of asthma. And I was using an inhaler when I was running because I wasn't breathing properly. As I've been working with block therapy and I've released the scars from my ribs, now I don't need that. I don't have any issues with my breathing, and I'm breathing really, really well. So it doesn't really matter where the scar is in the body. If you have had something, you still want to create that release so that the tissue isn't glued and stuck onto the bone, because that's going to limit range of motion and blood flow to the cells on the other side.
Beautiful, fantastic. I've got, we have one other question, Deanna, and you know that I've had a personal stake in this one. We've got a gal named Jill in New Hampshire that has a question about a varicose vein. Quinn, I know you're going to smile because you're helping me eradicate mine. But Dee, talk about varicose veins, why it happens and why block therapy helps.
Absolutely. So when we fall out of balance, again, most people will stand this way. So we have roadways to bring blood and oxygen flow to the cells. We have roadways for nerves, for the lymphatic system. Basically, the body is filled with roadways to bring information, to bring nutrients, and to take away waste. So when we have proper posture, we make sure that all those roadways are intact and open, so there's an ease of flow. When we fall out of balance over time, we end up blocking off some of those roadways. So other areas are having to do more work. So when we're talking about veins, they end up expanding because there's more blood that has to get pumped through what is open as opposed to what's compressed. So with block therapy, we create the release, we treat you or teach you how to bring oxygen into the area and correct alignment so that we can get those roadways that have been blocked to work again for us, so that everything can become more relaxed. It's like a city with if you had a major artery in the city blocked, suddenly you have a lot of chaos in the streets. And in Winnipeg here, where it can be, you know, pretty chaotic in the wintertime with storms, and suddenly there's, you know, traffic accidents. We just had a 17-car pileup last Wednesday because it was our first snowstorm. So that's going to block that major roadway from travel, so then the other roadways get overtaxed. So that's really what a varicose vein is. And again, we are all about taking the compression away so that we can improve that flow so everything works with ease. And ease means it's not ballooning anymore. It becomes healthy again and normal, positioned properly.
So there you have it. We are at the top of the hour. So I just want to invite everyone. Deanna Quinn, stay right there. We're going to come back to you to wrap up. But I do want to invite everyone to join us to rock around the banquet table. Thanksgiving this week for the U.S. Then Christmas just comes right around the corner. And if you want to be able to have Deanna guide you through exactly how she dropped 50 pounds and has helped thousands of people at this point really seize back their own health, be empowered to self-care, then go register at 21dayswithdeanna.com. When you do, you will have the opportunity to submit some before and afters, and when you do that, you in all likelihood could be one of the people that gets to join us for a 3-day luxury block therapy retreat. Deanna, it's fewer than 15 people, and you know what a beautiful setting it is, what a special time, and I have never had such a more transformational health experience than the time that I've spent with you, with Quinn, the retreat, and then learning exactly from that immersion experience to be able to become block dependent, Joanne, as you so aptly put. So Deanna, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about everybody getting hold of a block, jumping in, being a part of the block party, being a part of the holiday challenge at 21 Days with Deanna. If you don't have a block, they are $99.95 Canadian, and that is on 21dayswithdeanna.com/blocks. However, Heather, I can't wait to jump in with you and the virtual group classes. So there is a package where you have a block, a buddy band, a DVD, and 3 classes, priceless classes with Quinn and Heather. And you also have the bigger package, which, Quinn, I think I need to refill my package soon because I'm almost out of you, dude, and I'm going to top off my Quinn cup for sure. So if you want the 8 classes, block, buddy band, DVD, and 8 classes, it's $199, and Deanna, I definitely dropped more than that on the massage that we had at the Ritz. So anyway, I'm just saying it's about us getting a perspective and really, you know, bringing it all back around to taking care of ourselves. So Deanna, Quinn, what would you like to say tonight to put a bow on this, to invite people to the 21-day program? Any final words you all would like to put a bow on this hangout for us?
You first.
Like we've all shared today, the very first step to doing this is just buying the block and actually doing it, because you can hear all of these amazing testimonials, these amazing results, but for you to experience and you to gain these results, just buy the block and do it, because you might get crazy results that we actually haven't even heard of. So we want to hear your input, how it's benefited you, and do this 21 days with us, with Deanna and I together. We're here with you. So this is going to be such an amazing experience. You're going to notice this is probably going to be the least stressful holiday season. You're going to manage your weight, your size, and it's just going to be phenomenal. So that's what I have to share.
Way to go. That was what I was going to say. I just want to say, too, that this isn't something that I thought up. This is something that happened to me, something that I've used, and it's something that has transformed my life and now so many others. So just start. It will make the difference.
Beautiful. So I do want to let everyone know the 21-day challenge. It is www.21dayswithdeanna. Deanna, it's 4 specific hangouts walking us through the holidays. Is there anything else that you would like to share to help bring this back to life for everyone to get what the 21-day challenge is and what that program support is?
Well, you know, having your before pictures and measurements is really great because it is so awesome for you to see the changes. It's not about weight loss. We don't even ask you for your weight, by the way. We just want measurements and we want some pictures because you're going to be blown away by the changes from changing your alignment. And it's simple. It's 15 minutes a day, 3 positions a day. You can do it more than once if you want to. The more you do, the faster the results, but 15 minutes a day as you're guided is all you need to do to see changes, to manage what's going on. So it is so simple. And the whole point of the Hangout is for us to be here for you, because if you have questions, concerns, we don't want you to be left alone. We want to be here to support you on your journey, and that's what we're here for.
So Quinn and Deanna, thank you so much. Deanna, if you had not paid the price that you had with 40,000 hours, pouring yourself into your patients, discovering what was happening in tissue, and then having the guts to actually put it all into that block and help bring all the people you have to the table, then none of us would be here. And I'm very clear I wouldn't be around for my grandchildren either. So thank you so much. Quinn, thank you so much. Appreciate you. You and Heather, we're going to say goodnight to you. Thank you so much for being here. Joanne, thank you for being here. And I want to thank every single person here for being a part of our Hangout. Come join us. Jump into the party. The block party is happening at www.21dayswithdeanna.com. Make sure you jump in and get your block. That is at 21dayswithdeanna.com/blocks. And in all likelihood, you can order your block. You can have it in a couple of days or 1 to 2 days. And we will look forward to seeing you all on this path, the 21-day program. You will get your name in the hat for a drawing for the 3-day luxury block therapy retreat. So everyone, make it a great night. You absolutely deserve it. We will see you on the first Hangout with the 21-day program. We'll see you there.